I don't think I could. There's no argument that I could put up to go against that. As far as do the Eagles have a home field advantage? You know, they've had a couple games under Chip Kelly, and they had a whole bunch of games that before Andy Reid left. And this team has been in disarray for a number of years. The quarterback issues and all the other things that are going on there, and pretty bad franchise for quite a while now. But they are turning it around. Chip Kelly has inspired them. They do have a little bit of a controversy at quarterback, Foles and Vic. The problem with Vic is, he's a different kind of quarterback. The problem with him is he gets hurt all the time. And again, he's hurt right now. So you can't depend on any quarterback making it through the year. It's a very physical game. But when you look at the two defenses, no matter where they're playing, these two defenses are bad. They're not good at all. You got to kind of throw out the Denver game. I mean, everybody looks bad against Denver, but this Cowboy team is not that strong on defense. Tony Romo's having a remarkable year. I think he's an extremely good quarterback that makes mistakes, but they all make mistakes. He just seems to make them at the most critical times, but they are doing very well. They're 3-3 on the season. This is a huge game in this division. I don't see any change in pattern. Chip Kelly is going to run the fast offense, whether it's Foles or Vic. They're going to move up and down the field. There's not going to be a lot of resistance from the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are going to do the same because they're going to have to match point for point. Even though it's a division game, and division games tend to be lower scoring, I kind of throw that out here, and I'm going to go with the over.
Let's look at the second game, and this is the big one on Sunday night. The Broncos and the Colts. Peyton Manning goes marching back into Indianapolis with what right now is the number one team in the league, the unbeaten Denver Broncos, 6-0. The Colts, well, they let one. They fell into that sandwich and got eaten up on Monday by the Chargers. Still a pretty good football team, though. I'm going to look at the total here as well. Look, nobody's stopped Denver so far, and Indianapolis still can't stop the run. This has been a big problem for them. It's the one area where they're still lacking. What I do think you'll see is a much better Colts offense than we saw against San Diego. They were just flat against the Chargers, dropping passes all over the place, and couldn't get in the end zone. They never got in the end zone. I don't know if they're going to score a ton of points against Denver, but I think they will get some. I think Monday was a bit of an aberration for that offense. 56 to me. You look at this, and I know it's a high number, but based on the number of plays that we're going to see in this football game, and I suspect the number of successful plays we're going to see in this football game, I don't think 56 is high enough. I think this game gets into the 60s, Jeff. I like the game over.
Yeah, I can't argue with that one either because these days 56, 57 is almost normal in the NFL, whereas 10, 15 years ago would be a really high number. You'd almost never see it. The Colts have covered 7 in a row as a home underdog, but I think I'm going to lean to the Broncos this game. The Broncos are last in the league in pass defense as far as total yards, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that opposing teams are always trying to catch up. Last week, the Broncos did not play well in that game against the Jaguars, but it was an unusual handicap situation where you had 3 things combined. You had a letdown, you had a look ahead, and you had a sandwich game all in one. You don't get that very often. That's why laying 28 points is probably not a very good idea. They're coming off the big game against the Cowboys. They have the Colts next week, and then they have the Jaguars in between. Von Miller's finally back. Champ Bailey's back. As we saw on Monday, Andrew Luck can be very impressive at times. But then again, he has these games where he doesn't do so well. It happened against the Chargers, of course, and then earlier in the season against the Dolphins. So Denver's won 17 regular season games in a row, 13-4 against the spread. I'm going to take a slight lean on the Broncos here in this game, Jim.
Well, Jim, it's a good matchup. We know that.
I can't argue with anybody that says the Broncos under a touchdown because they're so prolific on offense and it's hard to keep up with them. But this train is going to slow down too. And granted, Peyton Manning, he doesn't get hit much. The offensive line does a good job, even though it's rebuilt some. They're going to put up their points. The Colts have a pretty good defensive scheme. I think they'll slow them down a little bit, but not too much. I favor the over as well. I look for Andrew Luck to come home and put up a bigger show than he did on the road. Again, the Denver defense, even though they're getting Von Miller back, their defense is not that strong. We're going to have to see if some of these guys come back. It's going to make the difference everybody expects. So I look for a pretty high-scoring team. Both teams very capable to get to the 30-point level. I look for the game to go over as well. I would like to make a little bit of a prediction going forward. The rosters on NFL teams are set at the same number that they've been for many years. And what we have here is we got all these up-tempo teams running more plays than they ever have. The pace factor is very high. But that also increases the number of hits the quarterbacks get. And you're going to see a lot more quarterbacks going down, especially as we get wear down we're only in week 6. So we got 10 more weeks of regular season to go.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams are going to start to protect their quarterbacks by starting to run the ball more. So you get a team like Kansas City who does that. And you're going to see more and more of that, and you're going to see some of these totals come down because they can't afford to keep losing starting quarterbacks. There's 32 starting quarterback spots in the league. There aren't 32 great quarterbacks. I mean, there's a lot of these guys are very marginal. Now you get into second and third string, and like up in Buffalo, they're down to their fourth quarterback. So you're going to see a lot more conservatism as we go forward because these guys are getting hurt, and they're not going to be able to come back.
Let's get to the best bets, either from some we've talked about or from any game on the board. I'll take one we talked about, and, I'm kind of a believer in if you keep getting paid on something, you just go ahead and keep doing it. And that's this story with the over in the Eagles games. They really are living up to billing as far as that's concerned. And the totals were projected by a lot of people to go over, and the numbers haven't caught up yet. So Philly and Dallas to go over the total in their game. 2 big college conference games of the year, 1-0 so far with Wisconsin, and I've got 2 this weekend. Both have to win, or you get the rest of October free, and you're going to play with me through Monday for $25. You're going to get NFL stuff as well, but the key to this is those 2 conference games of the year with the guarantee, just $25 total, 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Jeff, more of the same 24-9-1 monster run in college football and a huge special this weekend.
Yeah, and I've won 5 out of the last 6 big games I've advertised right here on this show. This week, you're going to get the rest of the NFL, rest of college football, all the bowl games through the Super Bowl for only $49. You're going to get my college football shocker of the year. I go Saturday, and 2 NFL games of the month on Sunday, all for a grand total of $49. Just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. By the way, my best bet on the show is also the Cowboys and Eagles over the total. Once again, get my college football shocker of the year, 2 NFL games of the month on Sunday, $49, and get the rest of the season. 1-866-575-8916.
And Jim, off the Monday night game of the year winner with the Chargers, great call on that. The NFL season for you has been absolutely sensational, basically from the very start. And you got 2 big college games going, plus an NFL total this weekend.
Well, let's start with what we got on the show as the best bet. We talked about 2 games. We all went over the total in both of them. So I'm gonna say my best bet is both those totals to go over the total. Maybe it's a best bet parlay. I mean, there's no argument I could make against either one of those plays, and I think would be very smart to consider that type of bet. I have a trio of blockbuster releases this weekend: 2 college conference games of the year on Saturday, plus an NFC total of the month on Sunday. All 3 games, $29, plus a guarantee. You go 3-0 for the rest of October. College and NFL games are on the house. Sign up early and you get a bonus tonight. That's right, a free bonus. Just call 1-866-841-1655. 3 big games plus a bonus, $29, 1-866-841-1655.
Good stuff, guys. And for those of you watching, don't forget, we've got a college edition of Proline as well, so make sure and check that out. A couple of huge games in the colleges, USC, Notre Dame, Florida State, Clemson. Those games are going to be discussed, so make sure and check it out. Meanwhile, for Jim and Jeff, I'm Dave Koken. Thanks a lot for watching. Get some winners this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week on Proline.